Hey everybody, it's Comic Quarter 410 here to share with you the rest of the stuff that I got at Baltimore Comic Con this year. But before I get into that, I want to give a big thank you to my friend Comixquests, Ira. The link to his channel will be down below. If you haven't checked it out, please go give him a sub. Every year, Ira and myself try to help each other out. We send our books to each other to get signed and graded at our conventions. And these are the books that Ira was nice enough to get CGC Signature Series for me at his con, Motor City Comic Con. First off, he took my copy of Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 8, Number 1, the Dark Horse 100 sketch variant, and he got it signed by George Jante for me. I've never had the pleasure of meeting him, and at one point in time, this book was red hot. It's since cooled off, but I still think it's probably the most valuable Buffy comic out there, limited to 1,000 copies, and it came back a 9.8 with white pages. Beautiful book. Thank you so much for getting that done for me, Ira. He took my favorite Valiant series, took my Magnus Robot Fighter number 1, and got it Signature Series by Bob Layton, who did this incredible cover. It came back a 9.4 with white pages. Very happy with that as well. Ira also took my Uncanny X-Men 213 and got it Signature Series by the great Alan Davis. It came back a 9.8 with white pages, and that's pretty nice for a book that I've had in my collection since I was in middle school. And this is also, aside from this gorgeous Alan Davis Wolverine vs. Sabretooth cover, which is the main reason I got it signed, this is also the issue where Psylocke joins the team. So very pleased with that, thank you. And out of the kindness of his heart, I had asked Ira if he was going to see John Bernthal, because I really wanted to get something signed, and Ira kind of played coy and was like, I don't know if I'm going to, but he took it upon himself to take this variant to Punisher number 1 and went and had it signed and graded. And John Bernthal signed it right here. Can't believe you did this for me, Ira. I really appreciate it. This came back a 9.8 with white pages, but I just think that John Bernthal did such an amazing job as the Punisher. I'm sure those of you who watched Netflix Daredevil will agree with me. So thank you so much for all of those, Ira. And especially this, you didn't have to do it, but I sincerely appreciate it, and I'm so happy to have that book in my collection. Very cool of you, brother. Now, for the rest of the books I got signed at Baltimore, got to meet Ed McGuinness once again, and I was considering sending this into CBCS, but I really went a little overboard and set a lot of books in to get graded, so I passed on this, but really loving this Spider-Man Deadpool series, and Ed signed my issue 1, my issue 2, and my issue number 3. It's great to see Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness back on Deadpool, and they're doing an amazing job. This is another one I considered sending in, the Ed McGuinness variant to Deadpool number 2. Got him to sign that. I believe it's a 1 in 25, but I might be wrong about that. Finally got to meet John McCrae. My understanding is he doesn't do a whole lot of shows over here, but was very happy to meet him, and I got him to sign my Demon Annual number 2, first appearance of the Hitman. Probably should have sent this in. It has a small nick in the spine down at the bottom. I don't know if you can see that, but probably should have sent it in anyway. It's at least a near mint minus. Got John McCrae to sign my Deadpool 49.1, Deadpool the Musical. Hell of a nice guy. I hope he comes back, because I want to get some Mars Attacks stuff to get signed. Finally met Howard Chaykin, who I'd never had the pleasure of meeting. Got the full run of American Flag, which, again, this book was red hot when it came out in the 80s, so I was happy to get this signed. He signed my issue number 1. My American Flag number 2 is a very quick, basic signature. Can almost miss it. And my number 3. Also got my American Flag 16 signed. Really like that cover. My number 22. Another great Chaykin cover. He signed my Deadpool number 8 variant and my Miracle Man number 3. I was very happy to get that signed by him. He's a very nice guy. I've heard some stories about him, but he was very nice and joked around a lot. Very cool guy. Got to meet Joseph Michael Linsner once again, one of my favorite artists. Bought this Harley Quinn variant that he did. Got him to sign that for me. Beautiful cover. Could be the first time he drew Batman and the Joker, but I'm not sure. But either way, I had to grab that up and get it signed. I have a sketch cover that he did for me, and that's being graded. My buddy Tom Ryan was nice enough to get my Conan number 1 signed by not only Linsner, but Kerry Nord, who I've never had the pleasure of meeting, and I think is one of the most underrated artists in the business. So thank you for doing that for me, Tom. Since my number 1 was already signed, I took some more to Linsner, got my Conan 2 signed. Some beautiful covers here. Conan number 3, Linsner signed for me. Number 4. And my number 5. Great cover there too. He does some beautiful, beautiful work. I'm glad to see that DC's finally recognized that and put him on some major stuff. As many of you know, I was very happy to finally meet local Baltimore legend Ron Wilson. Got him to sign my Stars Masters of the Universe number 1. He did every issue of that run. It was a big part of my childhood. The work I discovered Ron Wilson on was his massive Bronze Age run on Marvel 2-in-1, so I had to take a few of those to get signed. It was hard to narrow it down. He signed my number 13 for me. My number 17. 21 with Doc Savage. My 26, and this was as I told him, this was the first issue of Marvel 2-in-1 I ever got as a kid. This is not the same copy, but got this signed. Got my 29 signed with Shang-Chi guest starring. That's what I loved about this book. Thing and a different hero every month. My number 3080 signed. Fantastic cover there with Daredevil. And one of my favorite covers of his entire run, Marvel 2-in-1 77 with Thing and the Man-Thing. He signed that for me as well. Very nice guy. Got to meet the great Tony Harris once again. Only got a few books signed this year by him. I got a couple signature series last year, but I took this Newberry Comics exclusive variant to Vader Down number 1 and got Tony Harris to sign that. What a stunning cover. And got a Starman number 1 signed for my friend Howler Mouse, and this is the other copy that I have for myself. That was my original copy I bought off the rack. Also got to meet Tim Truman. Big fan of his work. Fantastic artist, fantastic writer. Got him to sign my Conan number 50. Got both him and Frank Cho to sign my Conan the Cimmerian number 1. Frank Cho only did, I think, 6 or 8 covers for this, but they were all spectacular. Got them all signed by Frank last year and this year. Got my Conan Songs of the Dead number 1 signed by Truman. Beautiful cover by Tim Truman there. I'm also a big Jonah Hex fan, so I had to take something by Tim Truman from his Jonah Hex work to get signed, and this is Two Gun Mojo number 1. I think he did some of the best Jonah Hex stuff out there. Signed my Hawk World number 1. Great prestige format miniseries with gorgeous interior art. And he signed my Scout War Shaman number 1. And again, just a beautiful, beautiful cover. Truman is again, one of the most underrated artists in the business. I think his covers are spectacular. And I know some of you out there like to speculate on movies and TV. Tim Truman told me he's been commissioned to write a script for a Scout movie, and it's from a pretty big studio. He said, you know, nothing's in concrete until it's totally greenlit, but he thinks there's a good probability it'll get done because they're paying him to do the script right now. So Scout is a fantastic read, and they're dirt cheap. Got to meet Dan Jurgens. It was hard to get his signature. He was not signing most of the day. He was working on commission sketches, and I had to come back to him 3 or 4 times before he finally signed my books. Got my Superman 75 signed. That's being graded. Got my Superman 76 signed. My Superman 79, one of my favorite Dan Jurgens covers. Really love that one. And I could not leave without getting him to sign at least one of my Warlords, one of my favorite series ever. And I have 2 complete runs of Warlord now. And he did some great covers. So got him to sign my Warlord 77. Also went and checked out the amazing team of Keith Giffen, J.M. DeMatteis, and Kevin Maguire. Got my Omega Men #1 signed by Keith Giffen and my double. Got my Legion of Superheroes #1 signed by Keith Giffen. I had got my Lobo miniseries signed by Simon Bisley 2 years ago. And this year, I got them all signed by Keith Giffen as well. So these are all double signed now by this fantastic team. That's #1, Lobo #2, Lobo #3, and #4. And I understand Simon Bisley is going to be drawing Lobo again. He's going to guest star in Harley's Little Black Book. So he's going to be drawing the issues with Harley and Lobo. So I can't wait for that. Keith also signed my Omega Men #2, my Masters of the Universe Origin of Hordak one-shot that he wrote and did this cover with Hordak and Zodak on there. Got my, actually, you know what? I forgot to have Keith sign this. I did get Kevin Maguire to sign my Justice League #2, but forgot to get DeMatteis and Kevin to sign, or Keith to sign that rather. Did get my #1 signed, that's with CBCS, and also got my formerly known as the Justice League #1 signed by Kevin, J.M. DeMatteis, and Keith Giffen. Really love their work on Justice League. Their run on Justice League is one of my favorites of my childhood. And then, of course, after Kevin left, Adam Hughes did his first work for DC on that book, and it continued to blow my mind. Got to meet Paris Cullins. He was very nice. At first, he was a little indifferent about signing 2 copies of Blue Devil #1. He wanted to charge me money, and I said, that's fine, I don't mind. And after talking to him for a little while about Blue Devil and his run on Blue Beetle, he, I guess, started feeling a little better about it, and he did a quick little head sketch of Blue Devil on the sketchbook I bought from him, and he actually gave me his email in case I wanted a commission. So turned out he was actually very nice. But Paris Cullins signed my Blue Devil #1 and my other copy, and signed my Blue Devil #3. I think these are a little out of order because there's my Blue Devil #2 that he also signed. So. And then I got him to sign Blue Devil 14, which is the first appearance of Kid Devil. So, very cool guy. He has a new book coming out. I think it's called The New Devil, and its premise is interesting. It's a guy who gets trapped in a video game, Tron style, but he's a red devil. It's basically them saying, hey, you're not using Blue Devil DC, we're going to use our creation. They just called it something different, but it looks interesting, and I'm hoping it comes out. Got to meet one of my favorites. Once again, I've met her, I think, 3 or 4 times now, but I always try to go see Ramona Fradon when she does my show. I'm on a quest to get all of my Super Friends that she worked on signed, because, as I had said in a previous video, one of the first 3 comic books I got as a 4-year-old was her work on the first appearance of Zan and Jaina, and it means a lot to me. So got my Super Friends 29 signed, Again, these aren't in order. I apologize for that. She signed my Super Friends number 3, my Super Friends number 6, Super Friends number 23, number 31, guest starring Black Orchid, which I thought was really cool. She would have never appeared on the show, but very cool issue. She signed my number 30. Or did she? Nope, I must not have got that signed. Yeah, these were ones I didn't want to ask her to sign all of them at once. So she didn't sign my 5 or my 4. But I guess those are for next year. I meant to come back later. I didn't want to give her all those books at once. I meant to make a second trip back, and apparently I didn't remember. So, also got to meet, once again, another one of my favorite legendary DC artists, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. Very nice guy. Did some amazing work on Atari Force, which if you're a kid of the 80s, you remember. If not, you probably don't give a crap. But he signed my Atari Force number 1. Signed my DC Presents number 4. Number 24. Number 17. God, these really, nothing is in order. I apologize, but got my Untold Legends of the Batman, signed my number 2. Signed this 1 in 25 variant to Before Watchmen Minutemen number 2 that he did. And there's my Untold Legend of Batman number 1 that he signed. And my number 3, probably my favorite cover of the group. Sorry about that. Beautiful cover. And last but not least, he signed my Whitman variant to DC Presents. I believe this is issue number 3. Beautiful cover with Adam Strange. Sorry, the books keep sliding. But yeah, I believe that's number 3. I could be wrong. But had a great time at the show this year. Everyone, thank you for your time as always. I appreciate you stopping by. Take care of yourselves and enjoy your comics.